China will take over Australia soon with this insane project. After Australia stopped cooperating, China obtained mining rights for iron ore worth $100 billion. China is moving forward with the construction of a sizable mine in Guinea, an African nation, which could be operational by 2025. In this video, we'll discuss how China obtained mining rights worth $100 billion for iron ore after Australia ceased to cooperate. Despite having the second largest economy in the world, China lacks advanced industrial technology. As a result, the nation needs a lot of iron ore each year. Australia and China have recently had a tense relationship. China started lowering its imports of Australian iron ore to reduce its reliance, and then worked with Brazil and Mongolia. Recently, something surprising occurred that shocked Australia, and the German media even referred to China as lucky. Guinea gave China a big gift by transferring the mining rights of the Australian-owned Guinea Simandou iron mine, which is why this is the case. More than 1 billion tons of iron ore have been mined at the Australian Guinea Simandou iron mine, with a value of more than $200 billion per ton. More than $100 billion were gained by China from this substantial contribution from Guinea. Consequently, why did Guinea sever ties with Australia before giving China the rights to its mining resources? As far as we are aware, Guinea is one of the countries that China has helped grow through its assistance to Africa. China helped Guinea build the Kalita Water Conservation Project as an example. In addition to resolving Guinea's water crisis, it also provides for the electrical needs of the household's inhabitants. Most importantly, Guinea has the ability to export power to its neighbors, which enables it to generate a sizable quantity of foreign currency. In addition, China helped Guinea build a railway, enabling rapid growth in its trade. Guinea gave China access to its own natural riches in exchange for help as a way to say thank you. Of these, the Guinea Simandou iron mine is the most noteworthy. Southeast of the nation is where the China Simandou iron mine is situated. The land transportation system is terrible matter how far from the port it is. However, given the size of its iron ore reserves, nations throughout the world consider it to have an impact on the supply and demand for iron ore globally, as well as the game's laws on the worldwide market. The estimated proven iron ore reserves of the Guinea Simandou iron mine surpass 2.25 billion tons, and the estimated total reserves of the Guinea Simandou iron mine may reach 10 billion tons. Most importantly, the Guinea Simandou iron mine's grade is between 66 and 67%, and the mine quality is among the greatest in the world. Due to its great economic mining value, Guinea's Simandou iron mine has long been the main focus of the worldwide mining giants. 6. The bulk of shares in Guinea Simandou iron mine are owned by 3 firms according to the poll. 45% are owned by Rio Tinto, 40% by China Chinalco, and 15% are held by the Ghanaian government. China assisted Africa in constructing a railway at a cost of $14 billion. Why does it, though, unnerve Australia? China recently made an extremely unexpected announcement. In other words, China was able to acquire a portion of the mining rights to the greatest iron ore deposit on Earth. China will typically receive 60 million to 80 million tons of iron ore resources annually during the next few years. In addition, Australia will lose approximately $100 billion annually once it loses the Chinese market. So what is happening? It turns out that China assisted Africa in building a railway, and in return, Africa granted China the right to mine premium iron ore. Why then did the United States and Australia choose to stop fighting for this mining right rather than travel to Africa to assist in the construction of this project given the numerous advantages? What kind of gains has this project given China? This railway, which has a total length of around 125 kilometers, is the depot on the Central Railway. It is the first contemporary railway currently being built in Guinea. Chinese equipment standards and technology are all used. Why then did Australia abandon the railway project? In truth, the construction process faced other difficulties than the pandemic illness and the harsh environment of Africa, through the cost. When you hear this, you might be confused. Guinea has a wealth of mineral resources. Why do costs cause problems? The resources cannot be moved out of Guinea or sold for money, notably because of the poor transportation circumstances there. The necessity for a railway that could profit from their resources was so great because of financial limitations. China will have to pay for the majority of the costs associated with building the railway on its own cash. Later, installment payments for the project funds will be made to Guinea. The largest proven bauxite reserves are in Guinea, which are also the world's largest exporter of bauxite. Guinea also has a huge number of bauxite mining locations. Once the railway is constructed and the natural resources are timely conveyed out of the country, Guinea's revenue will be much more than 14 to 18 billion. Nevertheless, Guinea must also construct 21 bridges, 2 tunnels, and 6 stations in addition to the more than 100 kilometers of rail that will be constructed. This railroad differs from standard passenger railroads in both ways. It transports materials rather than people, which severely strains the railway's capacity for hauling loads because the area lacks a robust industrial base. The neighborhood store does not have a lot of specialized items. China sent out air and land transport to Virginia in order to resolve this problem, which slightly increased the price of the supply. The second major hurdle was the problems they encountered throughout the facility. The depot tunnel of the Santa Railway served as Guinea's first tunnel. There is no domestic experience to compare with due to Guinea's poor soil capacity. The tunnel is prone to often collapse. China sent hundreds of its top construction specialists to Guinea in order to resolve the problem with on-site technical support. They also brought a ton of cutting-edge equipment, including machinery they independently designed for erecting bridges. But in such a situation, the Chinese engineering team came up with a number of building concepts, figured out a step-by-step construction approach suitable for Guinea, and solved the tunnel construction problem. In addition, the depot of the Center Railway experienced a number of problems while under construction. But despite the difficult weather, the diligent Chinese construction crew has done a fantastic job of safeguarding themselves, and the continuous construction work has not been hampered in the slightest. Why does Western nations' concern over China's infrastructure persist despite its huge advancements? A cornerstone of the Belt and Road Plan, which brings China into the 21st century, is actually China's spectacular achievement. On the maritime Silk Road, West Africa has been accessed. The first railway in Africa located at the depot on Center Railway was not actually constructed by China. A significant number of railroads have now been built by China in the continent of Africa. The Tanzania-Zambia Railway, which was built in the 1970s to connect Tanzania and Zambia, is the first railway built by China in Africa. In addition, the Mombasa-Nairobi Railway built in Kenya, the Lagos-Ibadan Railway, the Addis Ababa-Djibouti Railway, and the Abuja-Kaduna Railway are examples of the cooperation between China and Africa. A number of Chinese worries have arisen as a result of China now losing money while aiding Africa in the construction of railways. The mining rights to the Simandou iron ore, which has the largest reserves in the world, were sold by Guinea to China after the railway's construction was complete. This sale is significant for China's efforts to expand its market in Africa and will greatly aid the growth of Chinese mining companies in the continent. Additionally, Guinea and China are presently working together to produce this iron resource, unquestionably one of the largest in the world. The Simandou iron ore mine has reserves of up to 10 billion tons. If China can continue to expand the Simandou iron ore stabling, Australia's iron ore reserves might not be as important to it. This theory has been acknowledged by several professionals. Now that they have been opened, special trucks from China to the iron ore and Simandou. According to projections, Simandou iron ore production might eventually reach 150 million tons per year. Mineral demand has increased in China during the past few years. However, China only has 7% of the world's iron ore reserves, making costly imports from other nations necessary. China will import 70% of its iron ore requirements from only Australia in 2020, making it the country that imports the most iron ore from that country. Guinea's decision, however, shows that Australia no longer has control over China and that iron ore. Australia's trump card is no longer viable. China is actually capable of surviving without Australia, but it is unable to do so without iron ore from that country. Since 2015, 75 million tons of iron ore have been imported by China, the world's largest iron ore importer. China's main iron ore supporters are Brazil and Australia. China imports 724 million tons of iron ore annually from Australia, which accounts for about 70% of China's total iron ore imports over the same time span. China bought 205 million tons of iron ore from Brazil during the same time period, which was around 19% of all imports. From this, we cannot infer that China has grown to be highly dependent on imported iron ore from a single source. From the Guinea Simandou iron mine, China is able to remove 100 million tons of iron ore annually. The crisis surrounding iron ore imports has somewhat abated, and China has slowly started to establish control over iron ore pricing, reversing its previous attitude of passivity in the global iron ore market. Melbourne, Australia is home to Rio Tinto's corporate headquarters. In order to position itself as a world leader and one of the three iron ore giants, Rio Tinto bought a mining firm in northern Australia in 2000. Australian mining rights to the Guinea Simandou iron mine thus account for 8% of the total. Even though the ratio is quite tiny, it predicts that Australia may have 800 million tons of iron ore with a market worth of more than $160 billion. Guinea just declared its refusal to work with Australia. What is actually happening? Guinea and Rio Tinto signed a 35-year infrastructure contract in March 2022, and the alliance was successful. In accordance with the deal, the businesses will collaborate to create a port and a railway to enable the export of iron ore from Guinea's Simandou iron mine. However, despite the agreement being reached, these firms have not acted. Guinea was enraged that these businesses broke the conditions of the contract. Guinea consequently issued repeated warnings, but these had little effect. As a result, Guinea issued a clear warning that these companies risk losing the Guinea Simandou iron mine if they do not complete the development of the Simandou project within the time frame specified in the contract. Rio Tinto's loss of mining rights also results in Australia's loss of mining rights for its Simandou iron mine in Guinea. Additionally, it is expensive to ship numerous employees and equipment to Australia. Most importantly, Guinea is willing to allow China to take over the mining rights in Australia. According to the United States, Australia had lost close to $100 billion as a result of Guinea's move. Why doesn't Guinea transfer the mining rights from Australia to China instead of preserving them, given high reserves of the Simandou iron mine in Guinea? Guinea's lack of technology is the primary explanation. Guinea is still a poor country despite its natural resources and wealth. Being poor indicates that many technologies are subpar compared to those present in developed nations. China is keen to teach Guinea these mining technologies despite not having any iron or mining technology of its own. Furthermore, of the several nations that Guinea has approached, China is the most serious. In addition to offering high rates that astonished Guinea, China also offers no-cost support in the building of ports and railroads. On the one side, there is China's genuine interest in the Ghanaians' religious beliefs, and on the other, there is the brutal competition of global iron giants. Now that's all. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to like and subscribe to our channel and ring the bell icon to get more videos.